I've been recording guitars from home for a very long time now, but it's only been about a year now since I actually realized and learned how to tune a guitar for recording. Now, most people probably just think you just tune a guitar and maybe, check the tuning every once in a while and you're good to go. But that's not the case at all if you're going for a modern sounding production, especially if you do part by part. If you're playing a very fast part, you might actually be really sharp just because of the nature of the instrument. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to tune and check your guitars for recording. So I've got a project open up in my DAW. And the one thing that I want to mention that you need is you're going to need a clean DI signal to do this, as well as Melodyne. In order to check the tuning and adjust the tuning, we need to be looking at it in Melodyne. This is a sure way to find out if we are in tune or not. And I want to stress one thing, a guitar will never be perfectly in tune. It's just the nature of the instrument. It will always be a little bit out of tune, especially when you're playing frets. Even an intonated guitar, it's going to be not perfectly in tune. With that out of the way, there's a certain target range we want to be aiming. As if you can't tell, if you've never opened up Melodyne, I'm clicking on these blobs and we've got the pitch right here. And we are in a good range for these three notes. We want to be in between -4 cents and +5 cents. And so far we are there. But I also want to add that an occasional sharp note like this one is totally fine, and that's kind of just the nature of a guitar performance. Because sometimes an occasional, note that's pressed hard on the fret that's going to go sharp, that's fine. That is expected as long as that's not the majority. Those are fine. Now, where did I come up with these numbers? Well, I opened up a virtual instrument that I rendered out that I trust. It's a virtual bass, Grove Bass by Submission Audio, and their basses are artificially tuned. Now, just because of the nature of the string instrument, when you strum or pluck a note on a bass or guitar, it initially goes sharp, and then it gradually gets flat. So they had to artificially tune it because of that. However, it's technically not perfectly in tune. If we look here, that note is right on the dot, but that note's sharp, that note's sharp, that note is sharp too. This is where I came up with this number because I went through all these notes and kind of just figured out, there we go, we got the random sharp note, what makes the most sense. Now, most of these are sharp. Usually, I prefer to keep my guitars just the littlest bit sharp. But if we look throughout the project, keep an eye on this, we will run into some flat notes. There we go. So like -2. And that's where I came up with this number. So when it comes to single notes on a guitar, you want to record and check your tuning. And based on if you're, hypothetically, this is your performance. Say it looks like this. You're sharp. See, that's unacceptably sharp. You want to tune your guitar lower. You want to go a little bit flat. And say we go, there we go, an extreme. We're real flat. Then you want to tune your guitar to be a little bit sharper. And I've used Melodyne as this guide. Nothing has worked as good as Melodyne for figuring out if the guitars are in tune or not. This is a fairly bulletproof way. So that's where the magic number, I guess we'll just call it, between -4 and +5 cents. Trying to aim sharp, but the notes down to -4, that's fine. And of course, random rogue sharp notes, like I said, that's part of the performance. So now one last thing that I want to touch up on, I want to open up this. Chords are a pain in the butt. Absolute pain in the butt to deal with. Because these need to be fairly in tune. And I guess the magic number for this is you really want to just be a couple cents within each other. Being a little sharp right here, totally fine, but we got, say, +3 on these notes. This is just a power chord. But we don't want to go much outside of a couple cents because it starts sounding bad real fast once you start going past a couple cents. And it's cool because you can check the individual notes in Melodyne. So you can really see if you're in tune. Like I've been saying, so you record your performance and then you check in Melodyne and then you adjust accordingly. Nobody seems to talk about this. Nobody seems to be mentioning that this is, you need to be adjusting the tuning of the guitar based on the playing. And I wanted to pass this info on because this would have saved me a bunch of headaches. And listening to some of my older music, the production would have sounded a little bit better just if the guitars were a little bit more in tune if I was doing this method. So hopefully it helped you out, and if you're into these kind of videos, I have more when it comes to metal production. For some reason you want me to go more in depth on this process, let me know in the comments below, and I genuinely hope this helped you out, because I struggled a lot with guitar tuning and always being like, oh, is this guitar in tune? Is this in tune enough? And having these guidelines set up has really helped me, and being able to check the tuning has helped my sanity. So I do hope it helped you, and I appreciate you watching the video.